Hey guys, it's Mahel here, and today I'm going to be telling you about some of the mistakes that I made as a fresher at university, as well as some of the mistakes that you should avoid making. This is the first video within my Freshers 2020 guide, and if you haven't already seen it, then I did make a Freshers 2019 guide where there was a series of videos which are still relevant today. So if you haven't checked that out, then make sure to click the info card in this corner, I believe, and check those out because a lot of them are still relevant, and so we'll provide you with extra information on things that you should know about, and also just tips and pointers before heading to university in September. But before we do get into the video, make sure to subscribe and turn post notifications on by clicking the bell below, as this will ensure that you do not miss out on a single video as it goes live. I have been on a 2-month YouTube hiatus, but that is because I've been uploading to TikTok, more on that in a bit. But the point is, I will be uploading a series of Freshers videos specifically for Freshers 2020, as university will be starting again for a lot of you in September. And I do know that a few universities will be starting in January. And if you're going to, for example, Cambridge, I believe it is, then you'll be online only for the whole year. However, a lot of universities are coming back in September for blended teaching. So I highly advise that you do turn post notifications on so that you don't miss out on videos which could really help you when you come to September time. As I did just say, I haven't uploaded on YouTube for 2 months now, and that is because I've been uploading to TikTok. So if you don't already follow me on TikTok or didn't even know that I'm on TikTok, make sure to follow me. My @handle is Mahel Khan, same as my Instagram and Snapchat. And make sure to follow that for additional content that you will not see anywhere else. But without further ado, let's get into the video. The first thing I'm going to say is, do not be fooled. Just because you are a fresher, it doesn't mean that there won't be people out there to try and take advantage of your lack of uni experience and knowledge. There's only so many videos that you can actually watch before you start university to get a rough idea of what university is like. However, when you reach 2nd or 3rd year, you'll actually realise that you know so much more then than you did in 1st year. So even if you watch so many videos before going to university in September, you won't know everything. And there will be people out there to try and take advantage of this for their own gain at the cost of you losing out. What I mean by this is that before you even hit university, before your own students' union has even advertised Freshers Week, there will be some so-called events that try and advertise themselves as like a freshers rave or like a freshers package, or advertise like a freshers events wristband, which aren't SU affiliated events, and they basically try and advertise it as like the craziest Freshers Week ever. And whilst these events are real, they are not affiliated most of the time with the university that you are attending, and so they are unofficial freshers events. Similar to basically any normal club night, whether you were to go to Prism on a Saturday, for example. Yes, you can go to places like that, but they won't be part of the official Freshers experience. Due to coronavirus, it's actually unclear whether there will be a Freshers Week in terms of clubbing, as some universities have said that they're returning in September for blended teaching, whilst others are returning in January. And like I said, Cambridge is online only for the whole year, with the exception of a few lectures, but mainly online. So with some universities, you won't even have a Freshers Week, but if clubs and all that kind of stuff are still closed in September, there won't even be a Freshers Week in terms of the nightlife. Despite this, however, these event companies are quite predatory in the sense that they will be out there to try and get your money, and every year they somehow succeed. They make an absolute killing from selling unofficial event wristbands, and the way they advertise it is usually just like a freshers UV rave or like a fancy dress theme, and they'll bundle like 3 or 4 events into a wristband, which they then charge sometimes £20 and sometimes even up to £40 for the whole wristband, using introductory offers, last 200 tickets, etc, etc. And you should be really careful of these. This is why I highly advise that you wait until your students' union releases information on what events will be taking place within Freshers Week, as usually your students' union will talk about what events there are going on in the day, what events are going on in the evening, and what events are going on at night. Not always are the night events clubbing events, so be aware of that. So for example, at the University of Nottingham, you have a music and mixer event at night, which is basically within the Students' Union's bar, I believe. And it's just an opportunity to chat and chill to new people and get to know them. But at the same time, they do host events at places like Prism, Ocean, and other nightclubs. But at the same time, there are these events companies that will sell these freshers wristbands and like UV neon rave events. And whilst they aren't fake events, they are not the official freshers events. But they will advertise it in such a way that it makes it seem like you have to get those tickets if you do not want to miss out. So yes, you can go ahead and purchase these tickets. However, when, let's say you're in second year or third year and you meet someone new at that point and you talk about freshers, and let's say they went to the Students' Union events and you went to the unofficial wristband events, you don't really have the official freshers experience to talk about. Whereas let's say you both went to Ocean, for example, and it was like a zoo theme, you'd be like, oh yeah, I remember that night, it was actually quite good, talk about different things on that night, and so on. You actually have a proper freshers experience to remember. And like I say, there is always time throughout the year to go to these other kind of events, but that is why I recommend going with the Students' Union official events for Freshers Week, and then after that, choosing what events you want to go to. I'm not saying you have to go to SU endorsed events throughout the entire year. Just for Freshers Week, go with those as they will be the most popular ones typically, and then afterwards, if you want to choose for yourself, go ahead and do that. The next mistake I'm going to tell you not to make is to get a London style taxi. So in Nottingham, these can be green, and I believe in Leeds, these can even be pink. But you know the ones that I'm talking about, the usual black cabs. And the reason I tell you not to get these is because they are actually out there to get your money. And it's actually disgusting how much they overcharge students and also how they break their licensing rules. But, you know, I'm not going to get into that. You may have heard of the saying, support your local cabbie. However, as a student in a student city, I highly advise that you do not do this. The reason being is that they are out there to try and exploit students who refuse to use Uber, for example, for safety reasons, even though you can have safety problems with black cabs. And typically, let's say there was a trip that would cost £6 with Uber. There was this one time where there was a trip that actually did cost £6 to get back to my accommodation. But just as I was about to book it, my phone died. And there was one of these London style cabs just waiting outside the club, waiting for a student, probably drunk out of their head, to be like, yeah, I'll pay whatever, just get me home. And I asked him, I was like, oh, so how much would it be to get back to my accommodation? And he was like, £15. And then I was like, surely you should turn the meter on, because as part of cab regulations and licensing, you have to turn the meter on if you're one of these kind of cabs. He just straight up said no. And I was like, Uber literally said £6 and you're trying to charge me 15. And it's like, if you want to get an Uber, go get an Uber. And the reason he can say this is with such confidence is because he knows that if one person calls them out on their overpriced cab fares, another person drunk out of their head will just be like, get me home, whatever, I'll pay whatever. And they make an absolute killing from this at the cost of students' trust and their pockets. And it's actually quite disgusting, and this is genuinely why I advise that you do not try and get London style cabs. And if you really insist on not using Uber due to safety reasons, use your local firms. So for example, in Nottingham, you've got Nottingham Cars and DG Cars, and you've got a couple of other ones. You know, the ones that turn up in like Priuses and like your Volkswagen Tourans and etc. Not those really, I'm just not a fan of London style cabs because you have the foldable seats, which generally aren't comfortable at all. They're loud, the ride is just usually dirty as well, and you're paying 2.5 times the price of my Uber example for something way less comfortable. Because I don't know about you, but let's say even if you go Birmingham for university, whether that be BCU, Aston, Newman or University of Birmingham, 95% of the time I get picked up in an Uber in Birmingham in either an Audi or a BMW. And I would rather pay £6 to get picked up in one of those than £15 in one of these London style cabs, which are uncomfortable, noisy, and just generally with very bad drivers. Because also I find that a lot of these drivers will break a lot of speed limits, drive quite unsafely, etc. And you really can't report them either. It's not as easy as it is with Uber, because obviously with Uber afterwards you can leave like feedback and stuff, and then there is a support team which you can actually complain to, and they take it seriously. And like I say, with Uber, because it is pre-booked, your trip is insured, so if anything goes wrong you have insurance. Whereas with these cabs, if they turn the meter on, fair enough, go for them. But most times they will not turn the meter on in an attempt to try and get more money out of you, and in these instances your trip is not insured, so if something goes wrong you don't have the protection. But I must emphasize, I'm not saying you have to go for Uber. Ideally go for Uber, but if you don't want to, then you can use local firms. Just usually find them online, or during Freshers Fairs, a lot of the good firms will actually come to your Freshers Fair and advertise themselves. So in Nottingham Cars and DG Cars do tend to come to the Freshers Fairs and advertise them. In Nottingham, my personal favourite is Nottingham Cars when I don't use Uber, but typically I just use Uber for the ease, and I've personally never had a problem with them. The third mistake I'm going to tell you not to make is to limit your options when it comes to making friends. What I mean by this is that in the first few days of Freshers Week or moving in, you might meet people in your flat, and you may meet a few people on your night out or whatever, and you might be thinking, I really like this person, I've made my friends, there's no need to put myself out there even more. If I make too many friends, then I'll just probably not make close friends. Let me tell you right now, trust me, do not limit your options when it comes to making friends. The reason I say this is because when it comes to getting housemates, and this typically happens in like October, November, depending on what city you're in, but quite early, you'll quickly realise who your true friends are. I say this because let's say you're in a flat of 6 in your accommodation, and then 4 of them decide to get a house for themselves, and they don't even consult you, and you thought that you were all good friends. What does that really say if they didn't consult you? It means they don't really like you, and so if you really limited your options from the start, you're kind of screwed, because not only do you not have anyone to live with, but people do tend to form friends really quickly. I'm not saying that you can't make friends in 2nd and 3rd year, as I have met people in 2nd year so far that I didn't know in 1st year at all. However, just make it easier for yourself in 1st year by meeting people in your flat, in different accommodation blocks within your accommodation, on your course, on your sport, and in a society. Just try and expand your horizons as much as possible, and even try to make friends in 2nd and 3rd year. I did actually make a video on how to make friends at university as part of my Freshers 2019 guide. So if you haven't seen that already, make sure to click the info card in this corner, as you will be able to check it out there. And also be sure to check out my other Freshers videos, as like I said before, they're still very relevant today. But to just sum it up, make friends in all sorts of places, such as your accommodation, sports societies, course mates, etc. The 4th mistake I'm going to tell you not to make is to leave your stuff out in communal areas thinking everyone will treat it with respect or people won't touch it. Now, me personally, if I buy something, it's for my use. If you ask me and I say yes, yeah, you can use it. But at university, you will quickly realise that some people have no morals at all and will ultimately disrespect you quite badly and shrug it off as if it's nothing. This is the reason I send out a stern warning at the start of every academic year to my flatmates that they should not ever use my stuff unless they explicitly ask me first and I say yes. Because even then, during 1st year and 2nd year, there were instances where my stuff was used and then, for example, just left on the side on a counter, not washed for days on end, and I want to use it and I'm thinking, hang on a minute, someone has used my stuff, left it on the side, and what? Am I supposed to clean it? It's actually ridiculous and actually disgusting how disrespectful this can be. If you are unlucky, as I was this year, you will have flatmates who leave their dirty crockery out in a communal area, such as on the kitchen counter, for at least 4 days. And in my case, there was someone that left out their dirty crockery for, I believe it was 9 days before I put it in the group chat, clean your dishes. Because, let me just say this right now, people are brought up in different backgrounds and so they have different levels of cleanliness. However, if something is too dirty to leave in your room, what makes you think it's acceptable to leave it in a communal area If it's too dirty for your room, it's too dirty for the communal area. Just clean it. It literally takes 3 minutes to pick up a sponge scrubber, scrub something, put it to the side, let it dry. It really isn't that deep, and honestly, it gets to me so much when someone does this to their own stuff, and then that is part of the reason why I don't like other people using my stuff. So during first year especially, so in second year people did clean it, and there was only maybe 3 cases where my stuff was used. But in first year there was one time where my stuff was used and it wasn't even clean, and I was livid because they didn't ask me, they just used it, and then they were like, oh sorry, I didn't know it was yours. Well, let me tell you, if it's not your own possession, you shouldn't be using it unless you ask. Like, what kind of excuse is going to someone, oh sorry, I didn't know it was yours? But it wasn't yours in the first place to just use it and leave it on the side. Like, to be honest, you shouldn't even be just leaving your stuff on the side in a communal area. If you don't want to scrub your dishes and whatnot, leave it in your room where it doesn't affect anyone else. But it's just even worse when you use someone else's stuff and then just give it complete disrespect. So I'm not saying be selfish, because let's say you decide to bake a cake or have a Domino's night, go ahead and share that stuff. But when it comes to your own possessions, you'll quickly realize that people will disrespect you. And that is why I highly advise, if possible, leaving it in your own personal space so that other people don't use it. As despite my stern warnings, people did go ahead and still use my stuff and then even disrespect me by just not tidying it up or not cleaning it, or just not even asking in the first place. Like, if you asked and I said yes and then you tidied it up, I'd be like, okay, I'm not affected. But literally not asking me and then leaving my plate dirty on the side, we're not going to get on well if you do that. It's just not going to happen. And that is why I say be wary of this kind of stuff, and don't make the mistake of leaving your possessions out in communal areas thinking that people will respect it. As at university, like I say, every person has different standards and there will be people who disrespect you. The last mistake of this video that I'm going to tell you not to make as a fresher is to choose shared bathroom accommodation. Now, not everyone does have the luxury of being able to afford ensuite accommodation, and I personally quickly learned this, as during first year I had an ensuite bathroom, but I was struggling for finances. That is why in second year I went for shared bathroom accommodation, and in third year again I'm going for shared bathroom accommodation. However, there are some disgusting limitations with having shared bathroom accommodation. I'm going to quickly go through them now. Like I was saying before with the kitchen example, different people have been raised differently, and so they have different cleanliness standards. During my second year, there was an instance where I went into the bathroom and I looked down at the toilet and there was skid marks in the toilet bowl. And not only could I smell it, I could see it. And you might be thinking, oh Mahel, why are you telling me about this? Look, me telling you is nothing compared to me actually seeing it and smelling it. And when I called this person out, that instead of being like, oh sorry, I'll just flush it again, they were like, it's not that deep. I was like, what? So if I decided to go to the toilet and not flush it properly, would you be saying, oh yeah, it's not that deep. Yeah, I managed to smell your feces, but you know, it's not that deep. No, you wouldn't be saying that. And that is why I highly advise that, if possible, go for a shared, go for a ensuite accommodation rather. And like I just said, often with skid marks being left in the toilet bowl, it's literally fixable by flushing again the second time. And bills are covered, so it's not like flushing again is going to harm anyone. In fact, leaving skid marks in the toilet bowl is going to harm people, but just flushing again is not going to harm anyone. So for me to have to flush it again and then for there to be a clean toilet bowl, I'm thinking, is that really hard to do? It shouldn't be my responsibility. So when they're like to you, giving attitude back, saying, yeah, it's not that deep, just flush it again. No, you're the one that went to the toilet, you should be flushing again. It's actually ridiculous. And whilst it was frustrating, I just had to deal with it. And thank God, second year is over. Although, like I said, I'm going to have a shared bathroom accommodation again for my final year. So I hope this doesn't happen again in third year. I do have other stories relating to shared bathroom accommodation, but I'll go into that in another video. and so because of that, my expectations aren't too high. When I did have an ensuite bathroom in first year, this obviously wasn't a problem, as the only person that would be using my bathroom was me. And this also meant that I was able to safely place possessions like my towel, my Head and Shoulders, my Lynx body gel, all within my bathroom without the fear of someone touching it, using it, or damaging it. For example, during second year, at the start of second year even, I did a massive shop at TK Maxx, and I was like, I didn't bring a towel to university, and I saw a Ralph Lauren towel, and I was like, you know what, I'll treat myself a bit. I'll buy a Ralph Lauren towel just for a bit of luxury rather than buying like a £5 towel from Primark. That towel now, I wish I had it on hand, that towel now has what looks like mascara stains all over it. And I don't wear mascara, so I have no idea how it got mascara on it, but when I asked all of my flatmates, listen, my towel has mascara stains on it, which means someone else has touched it. And I don't know why you would be wanting to touch anyone else's towel to begin with. That's disgusting. They all denied it. They were like, nah, nope, didn't touch your towel. And I'm like, okay. And I've tried putting it in the wash multiple times, but the mascara stains are still there. And the reason I think that it is mascara stains is because one time I let some girls wear my guest cap, it was white, at a party. And then afterwards, I looked at the bottom of it and I was like, oh crap. Because it was like pink and red, etc. Like right here. And I was like, best not do that again. And then there were similar stains on my towel, which I was livid at, because like I say, it is a designer towel that I paid for myself, for me to use, because a towel's not something you share with other people anyways. So for me to have gone into a bathroom one day, having placed trust in my other flatmates not to touch it, and then see it damaged with mascara stains, I was livid. And the mascara stains are still there, because even after I've washed it multiple times, the stains are still there. It won't go. And honestly, I was furious, and to be honest, to this day I still am. So the overall point is, don't have like blind trust in your flatmates as a fresher, because honestly, there will be people who just disrespect you. Some people will have the attitude like, oh yeah, I'm only living with them this year, you know what, not gonna live with them next year, so I'll just do whatever, live like however, you know. And it's difficult, because like I say, you should have trust in your flatmates, but when they do stuff like that, it's a sticky one. And I didn't really want to leave my towel in my own room, because then I didn't want my room to smell like damp, so that's why I left it in the bathroom. But obviously, having left it in the bathroom, it got damaged. So my point is, try and get an ensuite bathroom if possible, and if you can't, and if you have to get a shared bathroom, then try and leave as many of your possessions as possible within your own safe space. That is going to be it for the video, guys and girls. I hope you did enjoy it, and I hope it has been informative. Coming back to YouTube after 2 months with a bang. Like I said, I have been uploading onto TikTok all this time. I'm currently sitting on 6,800 followers, I believe. So that is why I've been concentrating on that so much. That is literally more than triple. I think it's quadruple my Instagram followers, and I've had Instagram since like 2013. So now I'm going to be uploading on both TikTok and YouTube. So make sure to subscribe to me on YouTube and turn post notifications on by clicking the bell below. And also make sure to follow me on TikTok at Mahel Khan. My Snapchat and Instagram are also Mahel Khan, so make sure to follow me on those as well. And last but not least, my Facebook is official Mahel Khan. And so make sure to follow me on those. The links will be in the description below. If there are any videos you would like to see from me as part of my Freshers 2020 guide, make sure to comment those in the comments section below. And also, I will be doing an end of second year review. I'm excited for this one because it's going to be a bit of a rant. My second year was nowhere near as good as my first year, purely due to the university not really being that supportive during coronavirus. But I will get into that in my second year video. Just know it's going to be a good video. But that is going to be it for the video, guys and girls. I hope you did enjoy it, and I hope it has been informative. This has been Mahel, and I hope to see you in the next one. Peace.